Welcome to the Divinely Driven Results Show. My name is Elise Smith, Christian business strategist, and we get to empower Christian women entrepreneurs just like you to reach your sales goals by partnering with God, empowering your mindset, and utilizing biblical business strategy. Now, maybe you're having a hard time building authority or credibility in your space. Maybe you feel like you don't have that credibility, or maybe you're new to your business and have no idea where to start. Well, a brand is a great way to do that. It helps to build that trust, and the connections that you can build from there can really help you to grow your business and make the impact that God is calling you to make. So today we're going to talk about the 4 keys to a standout visual brand with one of the amazing experts out in the field right now, Melissa Connor. She is a brand messaging and copy strategist. So thanks so much for joining us here today, Melissa. Tell us a little bit more about who you are and what you do.
Thanks for having me. So as you said, I'm a brand messaging and copy strategist, and I work with Christian female coaches, and I really help them to create clear, connecting, and then compelling brand messaging so they can make more sales in their business. I'm actually a former psychologist, and then I got into entrepreneurship. And so really everything I do, is based on psychology. So being able to use my knowledge of the human brain, human behavior, to really help us build, that trust and those connections with potential clients.
I love that. Now, tell me about your psychology background and how that really plays into the brand side of things, because I think that's incredible.
Sure. Yeah. So I actually have 2 graduate degrees in psychology, and I ended up leaving that career to stay home with my children, and then, ended up going into entrepreneurship, and, branding and messaging was a natural fit for me because it really allowed me to integrate, of course, my training in psychology also with the training in business that I had gained because there is so much psychology in branding and making connections. I'm actually a certified color analyst as well. And so I love combining color psychology and personal color analysis to actually create brand palettes for my clients. So that's kind of a unique method that I use because I'll go into that later. But yeah, there is a lot of psychology in using the right colors for your brand and the perceptions, of course, that you can create of your business through color.
Ooh, we're going to have fun with this one. I love it. That is so fun. I mean, that's one of the coolest things about being in business for ourselves is we get to really make it our own. And, that brand is there to help to attract those divine clients that we're really meant to serve. And so I think this is incredible. We always have the guest choose what it is that they want to talk about here today. What is it about these 4 keys that you feel like that the audience definitely needs to pay attention to?
Really. So I have outlined, as you said, 4 keys to really creating that standout visual brand. Because as we know, the online coaching entrepreneurship space is very crowded these days. And so really creating a clear brand that stands out from the competitors in your industry is a necessity, really. If you want to really stand out, like I said, from the crowd, and then of course, position yourself in a way that attracts your ideal clients.
Definitely. Because there are so many coaches, there's so many virtual assistants, there's so many people in your industry right now, but that doesn't mean we can, have to give up and just say, oh, well, somebody else is covering it. God has given you talents and gifts and experiences and challenges that make you who you are to serve that specific divine client. But if we don't put it out there, then how would they possibly know? And how can we connect with them without something like a visual brand? So I'm excited about this topic for sure. So tell us the first key. We're dying to know here.
Yeah, so the first key is actually color. And as I mentioned before, colors do convey your brand identity or brand personality to potential clients, to your audience. And there's actually a lot of research that even supports this, that consumers' buying decisions are affected by color. It helps you build also recognition. Common things like McDonald's, we always think of the yellow. And so if you think of different businesses, Subway uses green, we really do have color associations, with businesses. So basically you can do that, for your own business. So take Subway, for example. They use that bright green, they're all into like fresh, right? So green does help portray that image, right? And so I'm sure that went into their planning when they were picking their colors, for their business and their brand. And so, it's not really about just saying like, oh, I like pink, so I'm going to use pink for my branding. There really is a lot more to it as far as, what kind of perceptions, what kind of feelings do you want to elicit in your audience and in potential clients so that they are drawn to, your brand and can learn more about you and what you have to offer.
I love that. So where do they go? Like if you're rebranding right now, or if you want to up level your brand with color in particular, how do you learn more about what each color means?
Mhm. Sure. So of course that's something that I do teach my own clients, but if you are, working on your own and just wanting to learn more about that, you can, simply search, do a Google search and, what do colors mean? And, there's a lot of good information out there on the basics of it. What does green signify? What does blue signify? And so forth.
Mhm.
And then a lot of, articles will even have examples, like I gave Subway as an example, or they'll talk about other brands just to show you, how the connection between color and then our perceptions of that brand, how you could really maximize that.
Love that. Yeah, I know when I first started like 5 years ago and just focusing on Christian women entrepreneurs, I had this orange jacket that I thought looked awesome on me and it looked great in pictures. And I was like, my color is orange. And I realized that that is definitely not the brand color for me. And then it evolved over time. I went into kind of a brighter teal and now I'm into more of a darker teal and more rich colors. And even the tone of the color can have a lot of impact. And so that's really, really neat. Yeah, we can definitely Google it and kind of find out more, but I bet you have some really cool tools that you use with your clients. So color is number one. What is number two?
Yes, number two involves your graphics, including your fonts and images that you're using. Really consistent use of your fonts, and again, that does pull in your color palette as well. Really helps to build trust with your audience, and then also creates brand recognition. Branded graphics, I really recommend that they're eye catching, so they help you stop the scroll because, as all of us are on social media and we're scrolling through. And so if something really does stand out and catch our attention, we're much more likely to stop and read, the content that's associated with that graphic or that image.
So what do you suggest? Like, do you feel like everybody needs to have bright colors or crazy fonts, or what are your thoughts on that?
So again, I do match that to the brand personality and the brand values. Um, so not everyone is really drawn to like bright colors. So say, for me, like I have bright blue, but not every woman, is drawn to bright blue or looks good in that. And I'll talk about that in a moment. But so there's many shades all the way from like baby blue to navy, right? And so different shades of those colors, can elicit different responses. Some are more refined, looking more sophisticated, elegant. Some of the brighter ones are more playful. So all of that definitely factors in just according to, what is your brand personality and what do you want to portray.
Awesome. I love that. So what would be your like number one bonus tip of stopping the scroll?
hmm so I would say using, eye-catching images for sure can help you. So just having, in high quality, we don't want anything blurry or anything like that. So, if it's a photo of you, honestly, our, smartphones have such nice cameras on these days. You can take very nice photos, of yourself or of, your workspace or whatever, and be able to use those. Also, if you're a Canva user, especially Pro has so many really great graphics and images, and there's a search bar, so you can search specifically. Like if I was going to search for branding, I could just type that in, and they're going to bring up all the images, that relate to branding. So really, in this day and age, nice quality graphics that can be eye catching are so much more at our fingertips than they would have been several years ago.
Oh, I know. Canva is like our number one tool in our business, I swear. So yes, absolutely. I love that. Especially when I realized, I mean, my assistant definitely figured this out faster than I did, but that you can take out the background of a picture and then like input that onto something else that's eye-catching. Like that was an amazing miracle in that moment. So love it. And it can be super easy and super fun. And you don't have to spend a ton of time on creating these eye-catching graphics that will stop the scrolls. So love it. Okay, what is number 3?
Number 3 is actually your image. So I also do have a background in image consulting. So I do work that into as far as how do you, present yourself, right? And really a consistent on-brand image does, again, help you build credibility and then that needed trust in the online world. And for example, so 2 of my branding colors are this cobalt blue and then a bright pink. And if you scroll through my feed, you're going to see bright pink and cobalt blue, and then black is another color. And that has really helped me to build brand recognition. I've gotten a lot of feedback over the last couple of years since I've been using this palette that, somebody will see cobalt blue in a store and she thinks of me.
Oh, yes. I love that.
My pink lipstick on Instagram, I was like, oh, that's probably Melissa. So, if you can brand yourself like that, even with colors, it makes people more likely to stop scrolling and read what you have to say. And then, of course, a professional image is always helpful in building credibility, because if you look like you're caring for yourself, people will perceive that you will care well for them as a client.
Oh my heavens, that is such a good golden nugget for us to remember, because man, I remember I didn't wear makeup for like 10 years. I had some eye issues and it was just not worth it to try and like deal with mascara and eye drops, every 2 hours, and just kind of never really, had that draw to makeup. So I wore it on my wedding day, and then like 10 years later, I finally wore it again. And it was interesting because I started with lipstick and I thought to myself, like, okay, what is the brand like that I really want to portray? And it doesn't mean you have to wear makeup. That's not what I'm saying here, but I wanted to look professional. I wanted to look put together. And, like you just said, for people to know that they can trust me. And it made such a huge difference, not only for the clientele that I was bringing in, but for myself as well. Like I kind of just told myself, like, I'm never going to hop on a Zoom call with a camera where I'm not put together. Now, sometimes I have, crummy days and I don't do camera on those like introduction calls or something, but I really strive to do that. And that's one thing that we do in our business is every single coach that we have, like we always want to try and look our best, because it really does make a huge difference with the brand that you portray, because those are the values, those are the things that you stand for. And so I completely agree. I could not agree more. Any other tips on how to like spruce yourself up and make yourself look more professional?
Yeah, so I will add a bit onto the last is that if we feel good about the way we look, we are definitely more confident too, which
Exactly.
helps us as an entrepreneur. And then also a little side note is there's actually been research that people respond more favorably to women who are wearing makeup. So
Really?
it's just
Wow.
interesting whether you think that's good or bad. I'm
Yep.
not sure, but it is the reality perhaps. So it's just something to kind of throw in as a thought, for people. And it doesn't have to be anything complicated. I
Yeah.
mean, I have a 7-minute makeup routine that I can do. So 7 minutes out of my day,
Yeah.
it's not much for me to look professional and on brand and to feel great and confident about myself.
Yeah. It makes a huge difference. It really does. So, yep, I'm even if it's like lipstick and mascara, right? Like just whatever you feel like is going to help to take you to that professional level. So, ooh, I love this. Good. Any other tips on professionalism?
I think that covers what I
Good.
was going to.
I love it. Okay. Number 4.
Sure. So number 4 is photo and video. And so really getting on and showing your face is so important on both, like I said, in photo and in video. It helps to build connections with your audience and then to build that like, know, and trust factor that's so important when you're an online business owner. It just is so just important because they don't know you personally, right? We're not serving people, at a store where they can just come in and, talk with us and make that personal connection. We have to, leverage that virtually. So by putting your face and your feed, into your graphics, and of course by doing videos, and those could be short form, Instagram stories, or could be longer and a Facebook Live. There's lots of options out there, but getting on video is just so important when you want to make connections with your audience.
Absolutely. And I mean, we're surrounded by brands and advertising every single day. And it's the things that connect with us, like those heart to heart connections of like, someone might hear my fertility story, or, they might hear your story around like why you do what you do. And those are the moments where it's like, okay, she stands out to me compared to everybody else. And if you think about it, that's how Jesus was as well. Like he was not afraid to be himself and to get out there and to, share who he was with other people. And so I think that it's such a huge difference for us to put ourselves out there, because when we're vulnerable, other people feel comfortable being vulnerable as well. And sometimes a sell can be a vulnerable situation, right?
Yes. So I definitely hear from a lot of female business owners that they do feel self-conscious or reluctant to go on video. So if you are a newer entrepreneur and you feel that way, I don't want you to think you're alone. That's a very common struggle. But I will say that practice and just getting out there and doing it helps so much, especially if you're working on live video. That just, you've got to start and just do it. And, it just becomes so much easier. I'm a very introverted person. And, in my former career, I was giving presentations to large rooms, but, going on a Facebook Live is just a very different situation than being in front of a crowd, right? And so that was something that I had to work through myself. And now, I did a couple weeks ago a workshop that was live, and that I wasn't even nervous. So you can see, going from too scared to hit that record button on a Facebook Live to being able to go on a live workshop and present. I mean, that's, coming a long way. So I'm just saying, even if you're an introverted person, it can certainly be done.
Yep. Amen. Amen to all the introverts out there. I'm totally an introvert. I'm a social introvert though, which is kind of funny that way. But I completely agree. I mean, just facing your fear and getting out there, because here's the thing is that God has given you a message to share. And it doesn't matter if it's an email or blog or social media posts or live videos, like we should be tackling all the different ways to be able to bring people to the message that God has given us. And that we also know that there's opposition in all things. And so, of course, you have the adversary or Satan who's trying to stop you from sharing that message as well and getting your brand out there. And so he's going to throw up all of these concerns and these questions and like, oh man, I have to rebrand in order to, follow what Melissa is saying. Just start where you're at, even on those Facebook Lives. If you feel nervous about it, give yourself, a list of things to cover or speaking points or however you want to do it, but just start. And you'll start to see, just like she was saying, that it'll get easier and easier as you go along. But it's okay for us to kind of have to fight the inner mind battle of our inner dream stealer first. Just know that anything that is going to be worth it in the end is going to have a little bit of struggle in the beginning. And that is totally okay. So I love all of your keys. These are amazing. I love the visual brand aspect. Your visual brand is so on point. I love it. And so we can definitely check her out. So if people want to connect with you and learn more about what you're doing and check out your amazing brand, where can they go, Melissa?
Yeah, so my website is standoutbrandingandimage.com, where you can, see all the services I offer, learn more about me personally. And then I also do have a free Facebook group. It's the Brand Messaging Club. And so I believe we'll include the link to that, but it's groups/standout branding. And inside there, I do trainings on, color, getting more visible, branding, and then of course, integrating, your personality and values into your message as well. So I'd love to have you join that group.
Great. Yes, definitely check out everywhere she's at because she's absolutely amazing. And if you want more tips on how to grow your business in the Lord's way as opposed to the world's way, make sure you come join our Facebook group as well for Christian women entrepreneurs in the service-based industries. It's called Faithful Ladypreneurs. And there you can connect with other Christian women entrepreneurs and you can advertise your business on Saturday's comment thread and learn other great tips along the way. So, Melissa, it's been such a pleasure having you today. today. Any last golden nugget that you feel God is asking you to share with the audience today?
Yes, I would just say be authentic, in your visual brand, and of course, in your values and your personality that you put out there. We're all created in God's image. We all have, a mission and a message, like you said, to share. And so just being confident in what that is, seeking that through prayer, and then, putting that out there, like you said, and, just taking that step. Don't let the fear, hold you back from what you feel called to do by the Lord.
Amen. I love it. Don't let perfection be the enemy of progress either. Just get out there and start. So good. Well, thank you guys so much for watching our show today. We will see you guys next time on Divinely Driven Results.